He laughed at her uniform, tilting his head as if the question itself were a joke. "What's your rank?" the Navy SEAL asked, a smirk playing on his lips, expecting a shrug or an embarrassed smile. She met his gaze evenly, calm but unshakable, and said nothing. There was a quiet confidence in her posture, a subtle warning in her eyes that made him pause just for a moment. That pause would change everything.
Us.
Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. The sun slanted through the blinds of the command center, dust motes drifting lazily in the golden light. Her boots clicked softly on the polished floor, each step deliberate, measured. Every sound in the room seemed amplified, the faint shuffle of papers, the distant hum of ventilation, the CAL's own breathing, suddenly aware. He had expected a junior officer, someone easily dismissed, someone whose name would barely ripple through the base. Instead, he faced someone whose presence carried weight without a word. Her mind drifted briefly to the long years behind this quiet authority. The early mornings, the unrelenting drills, the nights spent questioning her own limits. Each achievement, each hardship, had been a brick in the foundation of her resolve. And now, in this unassuming moment, all of that experience radiated from her like heat from steel. The SEAL's gaze flickered toward the door of the commander's office, where a polished brass nameplate caught the light. His eyes widened imperceptibly. There it was, her name etched clearly, her rank unmistakable. The joke evaporated instantly, replaced by a sudden, sharp recognition. She wasn't just another officer. She was the commander. A ripple of murmurs passed through the room, subtle but undeniable. Colleagues, unaware of the tension, continued their routines, but the air had shifted. Even the walls seemed to hum with acknowledgement, the weight of authority settling over everyone present. He thought he had entered a room where he held the upper hand. He was wrong. Her hands rested lightly on the desk, yet every gesture spoke of control. She didn't need to raise her voice. Her eyes, steady and unwavering, communicated everything. Experience, intelligence, and an unflinching commitment to duty. She observed him, not with anger or contempt, but with measured evaluation. The moment was small, almost mundane, but it carried the gravity of years spent, commanding, deciding, leading. The SEAL swallowed, a tight, almost imperceptible movement, as he tried to recalibrate his assumptions. Could someone so composed, so quietly commanding, also be the force he had once thought trivial? Doubt crept into his mind, uninvited, unsettling. He realized that respect, often delayed until earned, could strike instantly when faced with truth. She broke the silence, not with accusation, but with calm authority. "Is there a mission you need cleared?" she asked, her voice steady, controlled, warm yet firm. The question, simple on the surface, carried a weight that commanded attention. It forced clarity, accountability, and focus. The room seemed to shrink around her presence, concentrating on the truth of her words. The SEAL nodded slowly, his initial bravado replaced by attentive listening. He had underestimated her. More than that, he had underestimated himself, the assumptions that guided him, the biases he carried unknowingly. And in that moment, she didn't scold. She led, she redirected. She guided him toward purpose, not humiliation, embodying the quiet power of someone who commands respect through competence and grace. The tension was tangible, yet subtle. Every step she took, every word she spoke, demonstrated mastery. The moral clarity she exuded reminded everyone present that leadership isn't about intimidation. Yes. About guiding others to do their best, even when they stumble. And for those who witnessed it, including the SEAL, that lesson was immediate and unforgettable. As the day unfolded, small interactions carried weight. Colleagues hesitated before asking questions. Soldiers adjusted their movements. And the SEAL's respect deepened with each passing minute. He watched her navigate decisions with precision, balancing strategy, ethics, and humanity, a reminder that true authority is measured not by fear, but by the trust one inspires. By the time he left the office, the SEAL understood something vital. Power wielded without wisdom is fragile, but skill combined with experience and empathy creates a presence that can't be ignored. He had laughed at her, tried to dismiss her, and yet in minutes, she had rewritten his perception entirely. Outside, the sunlight glinted off the base's buildings, highlighting the ordinary world that remained unaware of the subtle transformation occurring within a small office. Yet for those present, the shift was seismic. One name, one rank, one presence had changed the course of interaction, respect, and understanding. The SEAL walked away with a lesson that would endure far beyond this morning. Never underestimate the quiet force of experience tempered with grace. Bold truth. Authority isn't about being feared. It's about being understood, trusted, and respected. As she returned to her work, the room returned to its routine rhythm. But the moment lingered, quiet and undeniable, like the echo of a profound truth. And in that echo, one simple realization remained. Presence isn't announced by words it's felt in the way one carries themselves, the way decisions are made, and the way respect is earned silently, effortlessly, and completely. Because true leadership doesn't demand recognition, it reveals itself in moments when assumptions collide with reality, and the world suddenly sees the truth. If this story inspired you, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe for more stories of courage, leadership, and moments that redefine what it means to be legendary.